What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of You Guessed It. Let's take a walk. I hope everybody is having a great week so far. I'm hoping everybody is having a good day. Forget the week, but let's say I hope that everybody's having a good day. I'm definitely having a good day, especially right now. Um, Today we have um, an artist. She is um, what do you say? She is a minister. She's classic gospel, but she's also current gospel. She is independent. She is charismatic. She's as the kids would say, she's lit. She's um her personality is bright. It's big. And she's one of the most versatile artists that I've actually come across, in my opinion, that I've come across ever, really. I've been familiar with her work over the years, watching her grow, watching her maneuver, watching her grind. And I definitely have to take my hat off to her. Um, this is Miss Sonya McGuire um, from the Atlanta area, ATL, Peach State. You know how that goes.
Absolutely. Listen, ATL.
But for those of you who may not be familiar with Miss McGuire, I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and just give a little background on who she is and some of the things that she has going on. So, with that being said, Miss McGuire, you have the floor.
Well, it is a pleasure, first of all, to be with you today. So thank you for the opportunity. I
Absolutely.
was so excited to have a chance to come on with you today. So it is a pleasure again. I am a preacher's kid from the great city of Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised in the church, the old school church, and not the normal preacher's kid, because, I didn't get a chance to do all the things that they say most preacher's kid that has the label got to do, you know.
Hmm.
And I'm kind of thankful for that. I didn't have most experiences that most children did. So being born and raised in the church, it was like, I didn't get to do, the normal things, but I'm thankful for that, because again, it kind of brought me up in a way um, that I got to learn and, appreciate God at a very young age. So most people that meet me say, oh, you have an old soul. But at the same time, I just enjoy life and I love people. So being brought up in that way, they'll say, how do you know that song? And I'm like, well, my parents, or, how do you know this and the third? But I'm also, the same person at the place that I know and I love young people as well. I've been a youth pastor, minister for many years. So I've always been eclectic. I've always been a person that just loves music in general. So being versatile is really what God created me to be. I've never been the standard 1, 3, 5 person. I've always been, off of the norm, out of the norm. So, I'm just Sonya, emptied out so that God can use however He wants to, whenever He wants to. And as I say, my testament is God is amazing and He keeps on doing great things for us, as I've watched Him do throughout the years of my life. So that's me, kind of in a nutshell.
That is awesome. That is awesome. As you alluded to already, you grew up in the church as a pastor's kid, and that whole thing. But when would you say your musical journey started for you? Like when did you feel like you got bit by that bug?
Wow, it was kind of the that too. I kind of didn't have a choice. My father was a musician, singer. My mother sang, so my siblings sang. So it was like, and played an instrument. So we all ended up singing and playing an instrument. Um, I sang low key. I was kind of so young that I couldn't sing. I had, several instruments that I tried growing up, from like clarinet to violin, the different things. I played drums
Hmm.
professionally for years.
Wow.
Messed around on
Okay.
keyboard as well. So I mean, and I directed, starting at like 15, at my father's church, and from there, it was just like, you know, I wanted to be behind the scenes, but God said that is not it. That is not what I called you to do. So it was just like evolving, you know, from a very young age in music. So, you know, my dad was like, "No, here's a mic. No, get off behind those drums."
Was okay. So was it always going to be for you? Was there ever a temptation or a inkling to try to do things something other than gospel?
Um, to be honest with you, that was never like in me to do. Though I knew my sound was so different than the norm, the traditional gospel. So, you know, I'm the woman that is like, okay, Everlasting Life, which is a very, very churchy song of mine. But the verses are jazz standards. But it goes straight to church after that. So it's very
Right.
eclectic. It's not still not your traditional, but it's real churchy. You know, so it's like
Right.
the way God gave it to me, it was never like the norm. And I'm like, ooh, I'm so different. Or should have thought about it, which was on the Stand Project with Coco Brother. Um, it's nothing but guitars and drums. It's a rock song. You know, and I did that years ago. Joy and Love, those songs, but they were never like your standard 1 3 5. It was all off, you know, the scale of what would be considered standard traditional gospel music. It was
So what
always
would you say that what do you think that you would attribute that to? Like did you listen to like well who were some of your influences early on? Did you only listen to gospel music or did you listen to secular music
in
or
my
who were
father's
some of
house.
your
Listen, you were gonna listen to God, the gospel music, Jesus music, nothing else. That's what we grew up on. But and that's why I say my music would not reflect who I listen to because of course in Church of God in Christ, Dr. Madam Clark, we listen to the Winans, Clark sisters, you know,
mm,
gospel. So that's why I was like, I
yeah.
was so different. I was so eclectic when it came to like, you know, just different things pertaining to gospel. But it's not your standard. You know, it was always like I was the oddball when it came to that. But so many people gravitated towards that. I was like, really? You know, I was so like super shocked at the fact that people really enjoyed what I brought to the table, just kind of being emptied out and allowing God to do what He does. You know,
So, so what did you think was going to happen? If you didn't think that they were gonna uh be attracted to what you're doing, what did you think was going to happen?
but
Did
you
you
know
think that
what?
they were just going to be like, that's trash?
But you know what? I think because God, I feel like God has a sense of humor as well, because He doesn't allow us to see
Hmm.
ourselves.
Right,
He doesn't allow us to
right,
see ourselves how people see us either.
right, right. That's a fact. That
So
is a fact.
when you're emptied out and you're doing what He gives you to do, I don't believe you can ever go wrong.
Right.
So moving in His will, His time, you do what you're supposed to do, and He's gonna do what He does best, and that's be God. Never go wrong.
That's awesome. You like you mentioned the Clark sisters, like Twinkie specifically to me, is the type of artist that you're is the similar in that her ear was just so much different than what was prevalent at that time and even now,
Absolutely.
and she had a similar upbringing, to what you're talking about. And for her to be able to navigate through that in such a way where she's able to turn, she can have that different jazzy type of style and really not have no point of reference to bring it to. Like that's got to be a gift from God. So like when I listen to you and I bring it back to you, like I was kind of alluding to off camera, um when I listen to your music, you hit you hit every mark. Like you have the traditional sound, like you knock that out of the park. But then the more hip stuff, you do that well too. And then, like you said, you got the stuff that kind of covers rock. You know what I'm saying? And you hear so many. And it's very surprising to hear that, how limited you were as far as listening to other music, because you seem like you're so comfortable in any type of genre or any
It's
type of.
God. That's all I can tell you. It's
Yeah.
God. It's God. And I actually, interesting enough, I have a country soul song that's
Mhm.
not released yet. But again, people ask me how. I'm like, God, because I'm telling you, I'm not. I'm really not. And I love all styles of music, but I'm not that woman that's just like I'm not here, and I don't have this great um, library of music.
Mm. That's amazing. So now that you're a full-fledged artist and now you're out here moving and shaking, do you listen to other artists and stuff like that? I know, because I know there are a lot of artists that, not disrespectfully, but
Hmm.
they kind of like stay kind of self-contained. Like they don't,
Hmm.
like I've talked to artists that say they limit the amount of outside music that they listen to, because they don't want to be inadvertently influenced, and then they write a song that sounds like something that they was listening to the night before or whatever. So like, how do you navigate that?
I definitely agree and understand why other artists would say that, because again, it's too many artists that are trying to go after a trail that has already been blazed.
Mm,
God has given each of us our own identity.
right.
And if we be who God called us to be, the sky is the limit. But so many people, they listen and they hone in on someone else's skill, and it's like when God gives you a trail, blaze
Mhm.
a trail. That's what makes no one else like you.
Do you so so with that being said, that's never been something that you've ever had to contend with, as far as chasing a sound. Like
Right.
maybe early on, right? You're doing what you're doing, and you're having a certain level of success, but you look over here, and artist X is doing a certain type of music or type of ministry, and it seems to be having traction. They seem to be uh you know further along. You know what I'm saying? There's never been like a challenge in your mind to, like, maybe I should switch it up a little bit to maybe sound a little bit more about what's going on right now. Or and if you have, what I'm saying, like, I mean, what's
I
what's
got you, but
what's
if
the
you
idea?
but if you think about it, how many groups like the Clark Sisters have you heard? How many groups like the Winders have you heard? How many
Right.
groups like Take Six, Commission, Witness, Dolphins and Dolphins? I'm talking about the people that have really blazed those trails that you don't
Right.
forget. You got to think about that, and I think that's what's happened to really kind of when people hurt themselves. Let me say that. Again, there's only one you. The gift that God gave you, He didn't give to anybody else. The
Right.
way He gave you to do it, He didn't give to anybody else. Your voice is different, your sound is different, your look is different. But so many people spend time trying to blaze a trail that's already been blazed.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So when
Absolutely.
you spend time trying to be somebody else, there's no superseding them because there's just one them.
Right.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So it's like, and I'm telling you, I've been to different states singing, and I've been in situations where I've heard artists be like, "Let me give you some so and so and so." I'm like, "Wow, okay, yeah, you sound amazing." And you can mimic them very well. But the reality of it is, until you be who God created you to be, there's no success in that. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There was only one James Moore.
Right.
There was only one Timothy Wright. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's so many, but you got to really think about it. Like James Hall, there's only one.
Right.
You know, when you look at these different, artists, and when you are who you were created to be the best in that vein that
Mm-hmm.
you can be. Because no one else can beat you being you.
Right. So with that being said, do you write all of your own music?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So and that's a purposeful act. So like you don't solicit like music submissions from other writers. Have working you don't really necessarily work with writers or producers like that.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I've never had a issue with any of that. But it's never been a situation that it's like I was looking for that, and I was on a radio interview yesterday, and the
Mhm.
question was posed to me, and I told the gentleman, I said, listen, I said I stopped writing years ago. I can write, like I can just sit down and you tell me, hey, this is what I want you to write about. I can do
Mhm.
that. But the songs that minister to people, healing and deliverance, that shifts atmospheres. When God gives me a song, I'm emptied out. It's not something that I'm going to look for. It's not something that I'm trying to write. It's something that touches the heart of man.
Mm.
It's something that when you're going through some of the worst moments of your life, that will pick you up with no matter where you are. And it ministers to your heart. It's a different element when I'm sitting down just trying to write something instead of when God gives me something, when He wakes me up.
That's
I was telling him
powerful.
yesterday, I was like, I have a recorder that lays right beside my bed. Because when He wakes me up and I don't know what I'm writing or why I'm writing or whatever, He gives it to me and I'm singing it into that recorder like I get it.
Wow. That's powerful. That's
And there's
absolutely.
a difference for me. Like I was telling him yesterday, I went through a time where, when I lost my mother, lost my father, and my brothers like consecutively, but I did not uh, at the point when I lost my mother, did not think I wanted to sing anymore. Wasn't really feeling like my emotions, and never knew what grief really was until it hit me that close and that personal. So at that stage, it was like I was just at a place that's like, don't want to do it. Don't really not feeling it, whatever. And wasn't sleeping. Was just had gotten in a place where I was stuck, and being in that stuck place, and acting like, oh well, like I gave myself the gift. No, the gifts of God are for the building of the kingdom of God. Wasn't ever about Sonya. And again, when I was talking about being emptied out, so when I write, it's what He gives me, not what I'm choosing to do, how I choose to do it.
Mhm.
But it's Him. So my sister's like, you need to get up. You've been sitting in the house too long. You've been doing the same thing every single day. You're stuck. Let's go. I was thinking if I had not anything like I didn't want to, whatever. But I needed that in that moment because out of my hurt, out of the grief, out of me being in that place of being stuck in depression, begin to set in. I wrote the song Stronger. I wasn't, and at that time, God was ministering to me, you know, and the words begin to flow. You face so many things in your life already, things that, you know, had you down and feeling heavy. But even at your lowest point, you're more powerful than imagined. You've pushed through so much more than others could ever fathom. You're
Right.
stronger. You're so much stronger than you think. And I'm literally, I'm not a public crier, but I was bawling in the studio. But God was speaking to me, and I'm thinking I'm dumping, but the song was written. And when I released that song, so many people that were going through abusive marriages, that had lost a child or lost their spouse or lost their parent, were reaching out to me saying, oh my God, that song got me through some of the most toughest times of my life. And
Hmm.
I'm saying to myself, you have no clue that had never dealt with depression before, but at that time, I was in the middle of it. At
Right.
that time, I myself was feeling like I didn't want to I didn't want to sing anymore. I didn't want to, I had went through the most, difficult times of my life. And I'm thinking I'm dumping, but God was ministering and pouring into me what I needed
Mm-hmm.
to go from being depressed and broken down to breaking through.
Mm-hmm.
And that very song ministered to the hearts and the minds of people that were going through similar situations, if not worse.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I was talking to somebody. I tell people this all the time. It's something that God put into my heart recently. And when I say recently, like within the last year or so, but it kind of falls in line with what you're talking about. Like, I think sometimes as Christians, that we forget to we or not forget, but we neglect to see the value in the bad stuff that happens to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about the blessings, we talk about the gifts, we talk about the talents and the things that God gives us, and the things that God delivers us from,
Right.
the things that God helps us through.
Right.
We talk about how He helped us through, but we don't talk about the trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And we were meant to not only be stewards of the blessings, but we're also have a responsibility to be good stewards of the bad stuff that happens to us too.
Absolutely.
So when you have a tragic moment, like family members, close family members that transition, you could stay in a dark place. You could stay in the wilderness and just wallow in that grief, in
Mm-hmm.
that mourning.
Right.
But there is purpose in pain
Absolutely.
because th- whether we like it or not, we may not have anything you and I may not have a single thing in common, but one thing that
Mm-hmm.
we definitely have in common is pain. We've
Absolutely.
all experienced a level of pain.
You can't
Some
go through life without it. You can't go through
so
life without it.
right. So from that pain, from that grief, from that
Mm-hmm.
stewardship
Right.
of negativity,
Right.
you brought a form of ministry that was able to impact others. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? It wasn't their mother, it wasn't their father, it wasn't their
Right.
brother. However, they still were able to meet you in that sentiment because they've
Absolutely.
experienced pain.
Absolutely.
So I think that's awesome that you're able to tap in, because I think sometimes we lose perspective on when it comes to doing what we're supposed to do when it comes to negative, because there is opportunity, there is ministry, there is a connection that comes along with grief.
Right.
You know
You're
what I'm saying?
absolutely right.
You have you have people, like you might have a person that was abused,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, mentally or physically abused, and then they turn around and turn it into a movement, a woman's movement
Right.
or a man's movement,
Absolutely.
mental
Absolutely.
health.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's important. And I think sometimes we get so caught up into how we are seen, we fail
Mm,
to be real in the fact that
hmm.
people need to hear your story. People
Right,
need to know that you go through hurt and you go through pain and you will
right.
experience the things that you experience. So
Hmm.
they can know too that just like me, just like you, we all have things that we go through. And just like I made it out, you'll make it out too.
That's a fact.
Not to
Right.
seem like, oh, I don't go through nothing. The devil is a lie. We all go through something. Like you said, we all experience that.
Right. Right.
And being
And
transparent blesses people.
right.
It really
Not
does.
not and not to mention the fact that I truly believe that each one of us has a remnant of people that can only receive from us. Like
Absolutely.
there's certain decisions that you make that will affect people that you may never ever meet.
Whew.
So, so that's why, being able to tap in on all those different levels is so important.
Yeah, it's so real. It really is. It's
Mhm.
so real. And
That
again,
is
like I said, it's one of those things because we get so stuck in who we are, we
hmm
forget to allow people to see whose we are.
right, right,
They ought to be
that's
better when they come in contact with us because of
right,
whose we are.
right. That's a fact.
Because the
That's
blessing
a
is in
fact.
that.
And I feel like, and again, I feel like listening to your ministry. I've listened to several songs, and plus the songs that you sent over and stuff like that, and I can tell that you wrote them.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? I can tell. I feel like you can tell when an artist has had music written for them
hmm
versus them actually sitting down and penning. So, because there is a certain level of passion, there is a certain level of authenticity in your voice that makes me think, oh, she wrote this. She sat down and she wrote this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes you so unique. Your ministry so unique, along with again the versatility that you're able to navigate in and out of different genres and different styles of music. That's a gift that not everybody has.
Well, to God be the glory because I feel like, again, everything that I am and everything that I have been blessed to be able to do comes from Him.
Awesome.
And I believe that no matter what, no matter where we ought to be able to touch somebody. We ought to be able to make a difference in somebody's life. Because
Absolutely.
again, it's never about us,
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes
So
we get stuck in that.
absolutely. So do you no, I'm not gonna go there. So who I was looking at your bio and everything, and on all the people that you've been able to um, come into contact with. Can you talk about some of the gospel artists that you've had the opportunity to share the stage with and have contact with, and some of the and how it affected you, and how it made you feel like you um, belonged. You know what I mean? What were some of the most memorable experiences that you
I've had a lot, to be honest with you, and I don't want to seem like because I'm thankful. But I learned a long time ago
had? Hmm.
that we are all the same. We are all here for a purpose, and we are servants before we are known, famous.
Hmm.
I think we've gotten so bad about being great when God is the greatest.
Right.
So I'm not, and I heard your question, and please forgive me, and
No, no,
it's
no. Please go ahead.
unintended, because I've shared the stage with what most people would consider to be some of the greatest that have ever done it.
Hmm.
Um, but I say this not to take away anything from anybody or their work, but I think sometimes people have gotten so full of titles that they forget that we are servants.
Mm.
Our music is supposed to bless people, uplift people, encourage people, help people to make it through days when they're tough days, or uplift people when they're down, or
Hmm.
encourage people's hearts when they feel broken.
Right.
And I think we've gotten so used to the titles that we have forgotten that we are servants. Our purpose is to be emptied out so we can minister to people's hearts when they're going through. So we
Hmm.
can, you know, encourage people. So we can help people. And I think sometimes, and I'm not saying this is all artists, but I'm just saying and being honest to the fact of saying that I get this a lot. Oh my God, you talk to people and you stop and take a moment and you do this, and I'm like, yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's greater is He that is within me. Not. It's not about me.
Right. Right. I understand.
And I'm thankful. Hear me. I'm thankful for the stages. I'm thankful. I've had billboards. I've had magazine covers. I've been on NBC, ABC, all of that great stuff. And it's great because I do believe that, in the artistry, those things are considered achievements.
Mm-hmm.
But now, because there's been so many things that have been going on, people have been losing lives. And for me to have someone to walk up to me and say, I'm thankful that you were here today because you were here for me. I was contemplating suicide and you ministered to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important to me than the name. It's more important to me that me being emptied out and hearing the voice of God minister to somebody and help them get from wanting to take their life to wanting to live. That's more important to me. And I feel sometimes we forget that because it's a show. I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in the name that we forget His name is the greatest.
Right.
And we miss that. And and again, yesterday I had a television interview, and literally we talked about some of the same things. And if my name don't ever go across your TV screen again, or if my name doesn't ever get in lights again or whatever, to me, it's about people's lives changing. They say, you know what, I really had a rough day, and I heard your song Joy. And it uplifted my spirit. To me, that's what it's about. Or if He loves me. I was feeling like really down because, I was going through and I couldn't call on some friends that I've been there for. Right. And I listened to Let Me Tell You About His love. It's amazing. And I really thought about it. And I feel love today. My atmosphere changed. I heard win. I'm going to talk like a winner. I'm going to think like a winner. Overcome like this is my winning season. If it shifts your day, if it changes your mindset, to me, that's what it's about.
Wow.
All of the other things are great that come along with it, but the most important thing is that it's changing somebody's life.
Right.
And I think we lost focus of that. Because nowadays, people look at us like, oh, you're great and grand, or oh, you're a superstar. Not that you're touchable. Right. Not that you'll stop and pray with me or for me. Mm-hmm. Not that you'll stop and speak into my life. But I'm too busy. Right. But I don't feel like taking any. But no, I'm not, because the reality of it is that if it were not for the people who love your music, if it were not for the people who, support you, you wouldn't even be where you are.
Right. Right.
If it wasn't for the songs that were given by God to minister to people. But I think sometimes we have gotten so church famous, and we've gotten so
you say church famous.
Yeah. Because again, it's a lot of people. It's like, come on, man. We got to do better with loving on people. We got to do better with the way we treat people. A lot of times people don't even know that we know God. They cross our path and they can't find Him nowhere.
I need the people in the chat to put hashtag church famous.
but it's real.
Yeah. No, it is. It is.
And again, we lose our purpose in what we're actually doing, what we're doing for. Yeah. And we completely miss it. Mm-hmm. I can't change a person's life. I can't hug a person. I can't uplift a person. You never know what that person is going through that you come in contact with while you're being great.
That's a fact.
You completely miss it.
I think that there is a a need when an artist first comes out, because I was an independent artist at one time. Um, it's not necessarily that you want to be well known for the sake of being well known. It's for the sake, and I just speak for myself. I can't speak for nobody else. I speak for myself. It wasn't the fact of being well known for the sake of being well known, but in my mind, I'm thinking I'm singing for God, I'm writing these songs for God, and I'm sharing it with the people. So I need to do what I can, what I'm able to do to give this ministry the best chance it has to have the most impact that it can have.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start doing that, sometimes, to your point, sometimes the water gets a bit muddy,
Mm-hmm.
and it stops at a certain point. It stops being about that. And like you said, you start worrying about views, and you start worrying about likes, and you start worrying about, is my song going to be placed here, or how many times did this radio station over here play my song, how, or you know what I'm saying, where is it going to sit on the charts, or am I going to get a dove, or am I going to get a stellar, or whatever, whatever it is that your aspirations are. But like you said, it can be tricky, because I want to believe that the motives
Hmm.
are pure in the beginning. You know what I mean? And you never want to set out to overshadow God, who
He,
gave you the
he
song.
he should be the reason. He should be
Right,
the only reason why you do what you do.
right,
And a lot of
right.
people get it twisted because they want to be in the light. But most people don't realize the light, even though it's great to shine, but the light exposes.
Mm,
The light
that's
does more
powerful.
exposing than it does shining. We
That's a
talk
bar.
good. And the
That's a
reality of it
bar.
is, it's a lot of people when your motive is not right. And again, there's a motive for everything in life. Hear me clearly. You have
Hmm.
a motive to eat because you want to be nourished, you want to be full. There's a motive for you to have a car because you want to get to where you're going. There's a
Hmm.
motive, for having a phone because you want to communicate. There's a motive for you having a job because you need to thrive, right? There's
Right,
a motive for everything. There can be good motives and there can be bad motives.
right, right,
But
right.
most people motive when you see the light, oh, they get to travel, they get to, sign order, they get to do all this stuff. But that's the
Hmm.
wrong motive. Just because you,
Right,
you can sing does not mean that you're meant to be in the light.
right,
It does
right.
not mean it does not mean that you're meant to lead people. A
Fact,
lot comes with that.
fact.
A lot comes with that. Because you're ministering to people through the ministry of song. Your life has to mean something. Your words have to mean something. You can't be nasty and say, I'm doing this for God. Your
Right.
life has to reflect whose you are.
So let me ask you this then. For you,
Hmm.
was that something that you had to realize in the process, or was that something that you kind of had an understanding of beforehand?
It was an understanding from the beginning. But let me be very transparent. I made mistakes along the way.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I'll be the first to tell you to know I didn't get everything right from the beginning. But it was a journey because I'm going to tell you, some years ago, I was in Macon, Georgia. I was singing, and my band was in a different vehicle than I was, and they ended up having a blowout. Me and the singers were there, and we were getting ready to sing, and I'm like, Lord, the band is not here. And I'm so used to doing my own material that I started
Hmm.
to get frustrated, and God was like, wait a minute. Because at that moment I was frustrated because Sonya wanted to do what I was
Hmm.
planning on doing, and not that the band had a blowout. So now I'm trying to figure out what can we do,
Right.
and God had to check me. It's not about you, what you want to do. There's a need here today, and I'm singing at an anniversary.
Hmm.
They called us up. The band still hadn't gotten there. And God, I began to pray, Lord, lead me and guide me. My will, not your will. Whatever the need is for the house. And I'd be going to Make For Mid. I knew quite a few people. I said, hey, do you guys know the song that God had given me at that time? I began to sing. God began to minister. People began to come to the altar. There was no altar call. And they weren't even done with the concert, but the people were coming.
Right.
And I was singing, I Just Can't Give Up Now. And when I tell you, God began to minister, I was emptied out. It was no more Sonya. It was no more what I had planned to do. It was no more than my band wasn't there. It wasn't anything else. It was about what God had ordained for that moment in that time. God began to minister like never before. When that service was over, a gentleman walked up to me. He had a gun in his pocket. And he told me he came to that service instead of the morning service at that same church because he didn't want to hear nobody preaching at him. He wanted to hear somebody. He'd rather hear singing. But he promised his sister he would go to church. So before he killed himself, his marriage was over. He lost his job and had no other reason in his mind to live.
Wow.
Now, if I had been full of myself, again, we all have come short. We all have had those moments where when things don't go the way we want them to go, I could have missed him. I could have missed that opportunity to minister. But we have to be careful how we handle what God has given us to do in our assignments. It's not about us. It's not about how great or how good we think our music is or what we think we want to do in that moment. We have to be emptied out for God to use us. Because the need is greater than us. The gift is greater than us.
So,
and he said I was going home to unalive myself.
Wow.
But I thank God for you. I didn't know who I was praying for. I said, what thus saith the Lord to him. And it was what he needed.
Right.
We never know. So we can't afford to be nasty. We can't afford to be in ourselves. We can't afford to be full of ourselves. We can't afford to think, oh, I'm an artist. I can't speak. I can't touch. I can't hug. I can't take a minute and be emptied out for God to do what he does best. And that's be God.
Wow.
That's why we can't do this, because we think it's a beautiful, it's a light. We shine it. No. You got to know that your motive is that he gets the glory out of everything.
Right.
Because in that moment, you can miss God. In that moment, you can miss the purpose that he has you in that place.
Right.
And that could be the cost of somebody's life.
Right. Well, in staying in that vein, I've had a few artists. I've had a lot of artists on this platform. Some you probably know, and some you may not know. Some you may be familiar with, whatever. But I asked them this same question that I'm about to ask you. Nowadays, it seems like the presentation of gospel music has changed a lot from, back in the days, it used to be mainly choir robes and, but now it has evolved into, designer outfits and sneakers and different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I kind of think I know what you're going to say, but as far as Sonya McGuire goes forth, like I've heard artists say, when I go to minister, I don't wear any jewelry, I don't wear makeup, I don't, because I'm doing there for God and I don't want anybody to be distracted by anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the flip side of that, Miss McGuire, I had artists that'll say, I wear all my jewelry, I make sure my face is beat, I make sure that if I got Gucci, I wear Gucci. If I got, whatever, I wear it. But get this, for the same reason that other person says. She says that I'm up there representing God, and I'm representing a God that's able to do and bless, and he owns cattle on 1,000 hills and this and then the third. So I can't go up there, you know, shabby or super modest because I'm representing God. So you have two artists on two different ends of the spectrum, but they have the same reasoning for why they do it, even though they do it in the totally opposite ways.
Mm-hmm.
So like when it comes to your presentation,
Mm-hmm.
before you even sing a note, like what is your perspective on how you know present yourself on stage, as far as you know being aware of brands and stuff.
Well, first of all, I'm emptied out before we even talk about what clothing. I'm emptied out.
Hmm.
I'm praying because I want God's will to be done. I don't even sing the songs that I want to sing or preach
Hmm.
sermons that I've already had prepared. God, what is your will
Right.
for this day? What would you have me to say? Because I don't want to say, I don't want to do, I don't want to sing, I don't want to be in no way, form, or fashion that He is not orchestrated for me to be. Um,
Hmm.
and I'll say this because I feel like when it comes to what you wear and when it comes to those things, and I've seen it be in the church, I've seen it be in award ceremonies and different things of that nature. For me, um, I was born and raised in the church, so I was always raised to be respectful of the house of God. That's what I was raised to do, and I love uh, fashion. I mean, I'm just a person that does, and I believe, for me, within respect, um, I cannot judge anybody, you know, because that's not my place. I feel like we all go to God for ourselves. So I'm
Hmm.
not the person that's going to point fingers and have fingers pointing back at me, just because of the fact
Right.
that I do believe. And I say that because, you know, we all have to answer to God for ourselves. I don't believe God gave big eyes and little U's, because in situations, many situations that most of us judge others in, um, we were not given the authority to judge. When He has been in situations where He
Hmm.
said, you know, go forth, be forgiven, you know what I'm saying? And then said to the others, what stones that he that is without sin cast. And I say that again because of the fact that I've seen controversial comments and controversial um, scenarios where, oh, what this person had on and what that person had on, and things of that nature.
Right.
But I also know that we will kill people before they even get into the church because of that.
Right.
We hurt
That's a
people
fact.
before we ever heal them.
Right. Right.
And I just got to be honest because we're so crucial and we're so hurtful before we ever help. So I'm the last person to judge. I'm gonna say, have you seen their heart? Have you prayed for them? What is God leading you to do
Right.
in that situation? So for me, I'm respectful. I'm a minister of the gospel. So when I go to minister, I go to minister. It's not about a fashion show. It's not about anything for me. It's about being emptied out. It's about me not being a distraction to what I have been there, been sent there to be.
Right.
That's what it is for Sonya McGuire.
That, listen, you have such a mature um perspective on on everything. You just kind of above the fray, and I really love that. I really love that. Um,
Well, see, I'm the person, I'll tell
I
you,
just,
I'm the person that have seen people that just came from the club. I'm going to come and hug you and love on you because you
right,
came. You made the effort to come. How dare I sit up here
right.
and keep my
That's a fact.
nose up and make you feel like you don't belong here? That right there, that blood is I'm accountable for.
Right.
And we
That's a
draw
fact.
them by our love. If God is the unconditional lover,
Right.
how do we how do we help heal them, help grow them by our nose being turned up?
Right. That's a
Right
fact.
now, I have to say this. Some churches I've been into, I've walked into, and I've saw so much so much brokenness, so much hurt and devastation.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of healing and helping, we're hurting. Because we've become so many times more judgmental than we are loving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we've become so much like what we say we're not.
Right.
It's so much more confusion than it is love.
Right.
If I have to tell you who I belong to, I've already messed up.
Right.
I look like my daddy because I've spent time with my daddy.
Right.
I smell like my daddy. When you
Right.
cross my path, I don't have to tell you who I am. You ought to know who I am by the essence of him leaking.
Right. Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. That
If
and,
oh
and
yeah, I'm saved. Oh yeah, I love the Lord. I serve the Lord. You understand what I'm saying? If I have
yeah.
to announce who I am, there's a problem.
Right. Right.
If you come across my path and you know who I am, by me having to tell you, there's a problem.
Right. That's a fact.
You ought to feel better when you cross my path, not worse.
I and I was having a conversation with some gentlemen about that very thing. You know, everything, no matter what you talk about, no matter what your conversation is, everything is a reflection of your relationship with God.
Absolutely.
The decisions that you make, the move, the places that you go, the people that you choose to associate yourself with. It all it all goes back, works itself back to whatever your relationship is with God, or the lack thereof. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So like if I have an issue, even if I have an issue, the person that I choose to confide in to get guidance from should be the person that God leads me to.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because the person is the pastor, or not just because the person is the minister or the elder, but because my relationship and my communication with God, I'm being led to talk to Sonya because God led me there. Not even because of the respect I have for you, but
Mm-hmm.
because I've been led to do.
Right.
You know, and so and to your point about looking like your dad. You know what I'm saying? It's like this this there was the decision that I make to talk to whomever is a reflection of my communication with God. Okay, I'm I'm dealing with this situation, whatever it is. God, what do I do? First thing I want you to do is go talk to Sonya. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And and for me to be able to be obedient to that, I have to not only hear God's voice, but I actually have to know
Right.
God's voice.
Right.
So again, it all works back to your relationship with God.
Absolutely.
If you are able to not only hear but know,
Uh-huh.
it makes it so much easier to navigate your
Absolutely.
life.
And that's
You know,
why I said when I said earlier, church famous. You got a lot of people that love the light, that love all of the glitz and glamour that comes along with that, but they can't help you further than their nose.
wow,
You
wow,
got to think about that. Because a lot of people now have become untouchable. How are we ministers of the gospel? And we can't stop and pray for you. We can't encourage you. We can't even see that anything is going on.
Right.
But we're critical. We always have something to say that's not uplifting, not encouraging, not ministering to you in your place of need.
Right.
But we can criticize quick.
Right.
We'll be the first to say, oh, well, you know,
Right.
It does not reflect whose I am, who I am in him.
Right. I call them professional pointer outers. We are professional pointer outers.
We've missed it. We've missed it. We've completely missed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
if he's an unconditional lover, we got to think about this for real. If he's the unconditional lover of our soul, and he forgives us, and he shows us grace and mercy each and every day, who are we to be so hurtful and harmful to people that we're supposed to show love? Unconditionally.
Wow. We have discussed so many amazing and deep, like we're not even really, it's not even about the music and music and ministry, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. And we're recording, and we only have an hour at a time. So we only got like 4 minutes left.
Listen.
So I'm gonna, I mean, unless you want to do a part 2 or a different segment, I want to ask you this final question. I want to give you, enough time to answer it. It's a question that I ask all my guests or whatever, and so I want to ask you. And here it is. What would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
God getting the glory out of everything that I do. That's success to me.
Okay.
Because when I tell you that God consistently blows my mind every day, that's why my testament, and I speak over my life and everyone I come in contact with, God is amazing, and he keeps on doing great things for me. And I have to tell you that I'm catching up to the blessings, because he keeps doing things every single day. It's like I'm running to catch up, because things are happening every single day. I had a gentleman that literally just gave me multiple cameras, brand new laptop, soundboard, all kind of equipment. I already have a television show that comes on Monday. Literally, just sat in my lap. So I'm running to catch up to the blessings.
Wow.
Because I promise you, if you lift him up, if you're really emptied out, and you're really about his business, you don't have to worry about nothing.
Right.
God will take care of you. He really will. I'm catching up to the blessings, because they're overtaking me. So success is when you lift your hands and you surrender everything to him, you don't have to worry about nothing. That's what success is.
That's amazing. Listen, that's powerful.
That's what it is, though. I promise you, it's things that are chasing me down.
Wow.
I said, Lord, anything that is not from you, remove it. Because distractions can be fatal.
Okay. Wow. That's powerful. We only got about 30 seconds left for this recording. Unless you wanna go a little further, that's fine. If not, we can schedule for another time to sit down.
We can schedule for part 2.
Yeah. But I thank you, and I appreciate you for coming on and being so transparent. I feel like we definitely just kind of like scratched the surface, but I appreciate you.
It's Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you.